Hey everybody, welcome back to Out of the Ordinary with Jay, and today I'm with
Jordan,
and Jordan. How old are you? I like to give people context.
29.
29 years old, or 29 years young, I guess. So I have some of questions that I like to ask people, just because I'm personally interested in these questions, how people will answer.
Okay.
So my first question is: at 29 years old, what are your thoughts on aging? Like aging gracefully, fighting it. Is there a perfect age? Health, happiness. Like just generally speaking, what are your thoughts on aging?
Oh, I don't know if I have enough wisdom to answer that, but
At 29, you got some.
a little
We'll
bit.
take what you got.
A little bit. I do think I like the saying that it's a privilege to age. It's a privilege to grow old because not everybody has that opportunity.
Oh, that's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah,
That's nice.
It's really optimistic. So that gives me some peace. I understand the desire to want to prevent aging or like age gracefully. I mean, it's going to happen regardless, but I mean, what's the difference between like preventative, Botox or doing things like that so that your face doesn't age, but also taking care of your body so that you don't feel like crap, like
Right.
things can kind of overlap there.
Yeah, and to your point, like I am, people probably heard me say this on the channel before, but I mean, age is kind of relative because I know people that are your age at 29 that are kind of a mess. Like their biological age is probably way worse off than say some people in their 60s that I know that are running marathons. Do you know what I mean? And so I think there is something to that as far as like, you know, I don't know, trying to like keep oneself young and keep looking young. I think that's an individual thing. I think for some people, they want their exterior to match more how they feel inside.
Yes.
Right. And I think that's important to them. And then there's some people like I know that they're just content with whatever, if they start getting gray hair all over the place, they don't care. It's just part of it. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, but so anyway, so do you have a perfect age? Do you think there's a perfect age or?
No. I think, and that's going to be an individual thing. I think people find the most clarity or the most comfort at different points in their life. I mean, I'm sure some people feel like, oh, dude, high school was the best, and I had it all. Everything was good, every day was great, and I felt good and young. And then some people are like, dude, I have never felt more myself until I got into my 30s. I've never felt more comfortable till I was in my 40s with who I was. I didn't have the most clear mind or have never gotten in the best shape till I was 50. Like,
this will blow your mind. I interviewed a gal not that long ago. She's just turned 75 years old. She tells me today she's living her best life ever.
Yeah.
At 75, and I'm like, damn. I'm like, I'll have what you're having. That's amazing.
Exactly.
Like to be able to say it, and she wasn't bullshitting me. Like she meant it. And like and she was very vibrant and just happy. And I was like, wow, living your best life at 75. And by the way, this is a lady that has lived in all over the world. She was born in Europe. She lived in California. She lives in Arizona now. But anyway, I just thought it was super interesting. Okay, back on the aging thing. Say I showed up today with a magic pill, okay? Pretend, just go with me on this. Well, what color do we want the pill? Purple. Okay. I can show up with this.
Like purple.
Okay, well, give me another color.
Just kidding. I don't know. There's blue and red from the Matrix, right?
Okay, fine.
Green.
I'm gonna go with green. I'll bring you a green pill today. And if you take this green pill, you get to live forever. You're immortal. Oh. It's the only green pill though, so nobody else is, right? Yeah. But you will be. Now, so my question is, would you take this green pill if I brought it to you today and you're gonna stay 29 pretty much forever? I mean, you'll be, thousands of years old conceivably, but you'd still
like
be
a vampire.
You'd still be, yeah, exactly, without the blood. But yes, would you take the pill? That's my question.
No.
Okay, why not? Why would you not take the pill?
Because the amount of heartache that you would have to go through over and over again to see everything that you love die, and even if, say, I'm 100 years down the road and I find somebody and head over heels for them, you still have to watch them age and die, and you never. So
the pain.
Yeah.
But what about being able to see all your enemies die?
Oh, I don't want to pay that much attention to my enemies.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so
maybe if I was a villain.
Okay.
But
so what if? Okay, so a lot of people, or some people, will answer the question kind of in the same way you did, which is, I don't want to leave my family behind, or I don't want to outlive my friends or my relationships or whatever. But there was a guy who, I can't remember who it was, but he answered it kind of interesting. He's like, no, he's like, I'll be around and have more family because as his family continues.
Are you able to procreate?
Well, no, well, actually, that's funny. We didn't talk about that, but that's pretty funny. Yeah. So a green pill and a blue pill. No, but anyway, but he was saying that like because his family would have family, and while maybe his kids wouldn't be around, he'd outlive them, then he'd outlive his grandkids, then his great grandkids, but there'd always be like a resupply, and so that was kind of his thought. He's like, well, he's like, I'll just be this wise old sage. Anyway,
yeah. Would you get to where you could even be close with that family because they would get so detached from your family tree? And not only that, I mean, if the government found out that you never died, you think you'd be able to see your family anyways? They'd keep you locked up and probably be doing testing or
true, but eventually over the eons you'd get out. You'd like to think. Anyway, yeah. I don't know, but it's an interesting question. So you would be just normal life.
Yeah.
What about an in-betweener? What about live to like say 500 or 200? Just take that deal?
I don't know. That's an interesting.
You're still gonna outlive almost everybody, obviously, or you would outlive everybody you know today.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like the way the world's headed, I don't know that I'd want to see all that or go through all that. I think I would probably leave it where it's at because I think if you knew, I have 500 years left. Mm-hmm. For one, you'd end up counting down the days. Part of the reason that everything is so special is because you never know when it's going to be done.
That's a fair point.
And get it while you can type of concept, but also things evolve so much. I don't know that the mind would evolve with it. So it's like, yeah, you can live 500 years, 1,000 years, but your brain still grew up and it knows everything as this way. Would it be able to adapt to the future?
I hope so.
Look at people that were born in our parents, our grandparents, and however long ago that was. Like they struggle with technology, they struggle with AI. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm getting to where I'm like, stuff's even starting to be like, what is the point of this?
It's happening.
How do I do this?
It's moving pretty fast. I agree on that. So I'm going to challenge you one other way on this immortality versus afterlife thing, only because, you're 29, right? And one could say like, well, I'm ready to go when my time comes. But like, I have a feeling like if I ask somebody at 89 on their deathbed, like, hey, would you want more time? They're probably going to say yes. Maybe not. Okay, that's good. Okay. Okay, let's go the other way. That's what we're talking about. What would you do if you found out you had only 1 year to live? Instead, I showed up with a pink slip and I'm like, boom, you got 1 year. This is the date. It's over. What would you do if you found out you had 1 year to live?
Get a Xanax prescription.
Smart girl.
And save that, I guess, for that rainy day. Yeah. Man, I would
bungee jumping on there?
No, God, no. Okay. That sounds no. I wouldn't even do that if I knew I was invincible. Okay. I would probably. I'd like to think I don't give a shit about a lot of the things that are important, but I probably still do that. So that a lot more of that would probably fall off than what I realized. Yeah. And definitely start checking some things off the bucket list. I would sign up for every credit card I could, and I would rack up some debt, and I would get my financials in order so that it didn't fall on anybody else, and I could live like a crazy person. Yeah. I would. That would be hilarious. And then at the end, excuse me, you haven't paid your bills. She died like a month ago. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Smart. I would find a way to probably get rid of a lot of stuff and then keep only the things that I needed, but get rid of things and make sure that it's going to go someplace. I think that's the hardest part for people when somebody dies is sorting through all of their things. Yeah. And finding out who keeps what and this and that. And, make sure certain things get donated or whatever. So that way it's probably easier for, my family and stuff afterwards. But I would go through and experience. Okay. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. You know what I found out recently? The Swedes have something that you were talking about, the Swedish people. You know how we have in America, we have spring cleaning? Oh, yeah. Right? They have something that they do every year called I'm going to get it wrong, but they call it death cleaning or something like that. And basically what it is they get rid of everything that's not going to, in case they happen to die, right? Then it's not a burden on their family. It's kind of like what you were talking about. So anyways, I think it's a nice thing to do. Yeah. I thought you were going to say something. There's another thing that they do. They open up all the doors and let out in fresh air, but we can't do that here. It's 1,000,000 degrees. Yeah, that would not be fresh air there. No, that would be here's some scorpions. Yeah. Okay. Still on the aging topic. That's going to be our topic, I think, for this. Is if you could travel back in time, what would you change?
Now, this could be in your own recent history, right, for your own life, or you could go back in time and somebody doesn't get to shoot Lincoln, right, or whatever.
Right.
Like so if you could travel back in time, what would you change, if anything?
So hard to know, because would it really change anything? Is that
Would it make it worse?
Or would it make it worse? Right.
Yeah.
And even then, it's like you could find out, and maybe it doesn't directly affect you, but it makes the other half of the world like way worse off or something. Like,
Yeah.
You don't know what. That would be hard. And because I don't know how it would affect other people, I think if I was going to change something, I would probably keep it more relative to myself. I just don't know how I would end up changing something. Like if I could figure out a way to warn myself, I guess, about, like, I'd probably be kind of selfish and just change things.
Well, here's one that goes along with this is an idea that goes along with your racking up the credit card idea. What if you just went back and gave yourself some winning lottery numbers, for a few weeks?
Yeah, or that. I think I'd give myself some personal life warnings. I would also give myself some financial advice. Yeah. Invest in Bitcoin. Do some crypto stuff. Probably set up a 401k or whatever, IRA earlier. Things like that, but also just some good life advice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're gonna get this is a tough one, so take your time. And by the way, on any of these, you can say pass. I forgot to say so.
Okay.
Because it's kind of a tough one. But what is the purpose of life? Do you have any sort of guiding principle or anything like that? Or I guess it's a pretty broad question. What is the purpose of life?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
It depends on what you believe in, and sometimes I get different theories about that. But yeah, I think growth is the main thing. Growth and evolution. The change is inevitable. I think the point is to grow. Yeah.
To learn, to improve.
Yeah, and you
I like that. That's good.
Learn how to deal with stuff, and you figure it out, and you grow, and you change and adapt, or you kind of stay stuck and end up being kind of miserable.
Yeah. Let me ask it a different way. That's a great answer, but is there a purpose? Let me just ask that question. Is there a purpose to life?
I think that's kind of up to I think that's going to be different for everybody. Some people, and it changes too. If you have kids, your purpose kind of changes. If you don't have kids, you kind of have to find something else. If you have a career that you're really passionate about, and depending on what you find and learn at different stages in your life, you could find a certain political event or idea or whatever, or something like that changes, and that just absolutely changes your personality, your view.
I love when those things happen, not necessarily as it relates to, like, say, politics in it, but I love, like, when I go to some seminar or I go to a class and there's a teacher or something, and you ever get one of those, like, aha moments, or you just something that's so new and so profound, you feel like it's like a game changer.
Yes.
Oh, I love those moments. Like, they're so cool.
It's nice to see evolution.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I have a new way of thinking about this, or I never thought about it that way. Oh, now this and this and this makes sense to me. Yeah. Like, I love those moments.
I agree. I think they're important. I think there's way too much of people staying the same. There's not enough. I mean, there is. It's just that people like to be comfortable, so some people are better at tuning it out, really good at tuning things out. But I think, we need that. We need people to kind of process it. I think it's good for your brain. I think it's good for your character. I think it's good for other people if you can try and have different perspective. So I think it's important.
I'm paraphrasing, but you just made me think of something I heard of recently. It's something about people operate in large part because they're more comfortable with their illusions than they are dealing with reality, or something to that effect. Anyway, it's kind of interesting. What is something a person can do to stay healthy? What do you think? Mentally, physically, or anything? Like, what do you think? There's something. What do you have out there? Something someone can do to stay healthy? What do you think's important?
Well, like they say, a well-rounded, balanced life. One of the things that I think I swear by is I put sea salt in my water. I feel like that's made a big difference to be physically healthy. But
what does it do? What is it supposed to do? Or what do you think?
It has minerals in it that, like, regular table salt, stuff like that, doesn't have. So I think
it's a nutrient thing.
Yeah, basically. But I think our bodies are just so out of whack. We're exposed to so much toxic stuff, mentally, physically, that and I think, like, emotional problems can physically weigh on the body, and I think physical problems can emotionally weigh on the body.
100%. Those are both proven out scientifically as true, right?
So I think if you
Yeah.
can kind of, I think being physically healthier is maybe a little more straightforward, not always, than emotional, spiritual, um, mentally healthy. I think that's easier sometimes to do. It's a little more straightforward. It's like, okay, we'll just do these processes, these routines,
Right.
and that way it can kind of alleviate the other ones, and then some of those can also help alleviate some of the physical things. So I like that, but yeah, I think getting outside. I'm not an advocate of tanning, but sunlight I think makes a huge difference. I think being out during the day. I think watching the sunsets and sunrise is healthy.
A little bit of a nature theme here I'm detecting.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm kind of a hypocrite. I should probably do more of it.
We all are.
But yeah, but yeah, those things, and also just taking time to just sit and not doing anything, and then processing gratitude and the things that you're grateful about. I think that's also like the more emotional, mental side of things. I think that can help alleviate some things, provide some perspective as well.
Yeah, and I think you already answered my next question with that great answer. But I always, this is the last question of this interview, but I always think, I always say, like, life's not always rainbows all the time, and sometimes it can be pretty hard to navigate. Sometimes it can even be really dark, and sometimes challenging, and sometimes more challenging for some people than other people. Depending on their circumstances, their financial wherewithal, where their mind's at. Maybe they've got a physical injury or something like that. But I was going to ask if you had any tips for someone to have a little bit easier time at life in general. But I feel like maybe you sort of answered that. But if you have more, that's fine too. But you answered. I like the gratitude thing. I think that's important. Yeah.
I mean, you can always say, well, things could be worse, well, they could always be better. But I mean, I think what I have come to figure out is nobody ever really has anything easy in this life, even though we might look at people and see that and like, oh, they were born into money and they have these opportunities and things. It's like, yeah, they do. They have that up against a lot of other people, but they probably also have other problems that we just aren't aware of. We don't live that type of lifestyle. More money, more problems.
Right. But, and it is all, I feel like problems, pain, hard time at life, I feel like it's all relative. Because, like, as an example, I was listening to someone else earlier today, and they talked about how someone in America that would be considered not even middle class, like say they only made like 50, I think it was not even 50,000 a year, I think it was like 40,000 a year, like low, like not a strong income, right?
Right.
For all the humans that have ever lived, which is in the billions, right? That person is in the 0.1% of best life that a human has ever lived.
It's all about perspective.
It's all about perspective. Anyways, Jordan, we'll leave it there. Thank you for a great interview.
Thank you. Appreciate it.